What's up, guys? Welcome back. Um, you know, we've learned a lot of stuff over the past year. Basically, I've learned to unlearn everything. And not sure what I've actually learned at the same time. But, the world's a lie. Everything around us is a bit of an illusion. And the most logical thing I can come from it is someone is inventing this world around us. Now, I'm told by some of these people that we're all inventing the world, we're all manifesting the world around us, we're creating the reality around us. And that makes a lot of sense to me because some things I've seen when I've left my comfort zone. When you live in the same place your whole life, like everything stays the same, and you really look at it and you're like, okay, like this is the world, this is the way it is. But when I left my comfort zone, I started seeing some really crazy stuff appear. And I was like, I'm still trying to process it all and figure it out. Or maybe I already processed it and figured it out, and I'm just like trying to look for other things because I don't like the answers I found, or I want a different answer, whether I like it or not. And on top of it, it's like, why not keep testing and looking for what I see? But I've seen some stuff happen, and I'm like, did that like happen because I thought of it? And I've seen this happen like several times. I asked to see one of my friends again because I'm like thousands of miles away from where I used to live. And like I've kind of seen everyone I used to know again. And the odd thing is some of these, like, I'll talk to these people because to me I know them. I'm like, hey, I know you, and they'll like kind of, the ones I've talked to, at least the ones I remember, they respond like they remember me, and we're like close and they can talk to me about anything. Not everyone is just all like talking to you about everything in the open and stuff. And I've seen some other stuff happen too. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like that was like a 1 in a 20 trillion coincidence that could possibly happen. Like I drive into a mega city looking for something, and then it appears. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I think I know what that is. So I should like rush to find a parking spot and run to catch up with these people to see what they're doing. And I'm like, it was exactly what I thought it was, even though I had no clue. And all I knew was there was some people out here, and then like some traffic was shut down and stuff. But I like, specifically drove into this city, and I'd waited a week too. And I specifically drove into the city at this time, and this stuff just like happened like that as I drove into the city. And that's like what I was looking for too in this city as well. Like I was like, you know, I was I was here to see what was going on. And I mean, that was just like a final straw where I was like, "Oh my god, is this stuff like popping out of my head into the world around me?" And I've been told that in so many situations, and so many of the classes I've taken the last couple of years. I've been told like we're inventing the world around us, and I've seen that. Like I took ecstasy, and the people around me, like, they started acting like they were on it as well to some extent. And it's like they're like mirroring back like what's in my mind. And I wish I could take ecstasy every day. Some people claim you get dulled from it. I just say that there's not any out here on the West Coast for some reason. Everyone uses meth instead. So I don't know why. Meth is a work drug, and you guys know what they say about the West Coast. But I mean, ecstasy is really like the amphetamine that produces that high that people who use meth think they're after. I mean, imagine if a meth user fucking figured out that the X was like the high of meth, and they'd be really addicted. Although I don't think you can get addicted. It like stops you from feeling it eventually, and there's kind of no point to using it. That's what I've heard, anyways. Right? So I always try to be sparing with stuff. I actually test everything in this world. Like I have like a whole drawer full of freaking vitamins and stuff like that. Right here, I am getting off on a vitamin tangent on a video about what the world is. But like, I have like a whole drawer full. I'm literally living in my car, and I still have a big, big, like way out here drawer full of vitamins and stuff alone, yet alone other stuff. Like look, I just picked these up right now. The new Gatorade Gatorlight Rapid Rehydration, and this is from the makers of Bang. This is no fusion. So then the new means nootropic. It's actually not no, it's nootropic. Like nootropics are drugs that supposedly activate your brain and all this. These are, but as far as what I've seen, these are tools. These are all tools. These are illusions. These are things we've created to convince ourselves that they can do things for us and they can fix problems, because we've created problems. We've created cancer. We've created disease. We've created the flu. Look at coronavirus. Where is coronavirus? Coronavirus is up here in hundreds of millions of people. Coronavirus has infected them, and it has debilitated them, and supposedly it's killed many people too, and I could see that too. But at the very least, we can prove one thing about coronavirus: it has infected people up here. People choose to believe it works. Coronavirus works, and it works on them. It works on them. And people choose to believe that the vaccine might work, and the vaccine might work on them, right? And I'm having a hard time after a lot of what I've seen, like talking like I'm living in the real world. I mean, what is the real world anyways? It's a MTV show, right? About a bunch of fake people. It's the fakest show in the world. It's called The Real World. It's the fakest show in the world. And I've seen a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm just like, man. But I think some of them are right. Like, I started taking Kabbalah courses. I started taking courses from high-level professionals. You got that Tony guy. What's his name that everyone knows? Tony something. And he just goes around and telling you like you're lazy and you got to work harder to get to where you want to be and all this. And Tony Robbins. And that's, like he makes a living off that, right? And so I started listening to some courses. I started taking a whole bunch of courses. Like, first I started like a nutritional course, and it was a joke. It's like I've done every diet in the world. No nutritionist has done that. I've done diets nutritionists haven't done, right? I've done diets people who teach you how to diet and work out who are scared to do. I mean, that's like my natural diet. Like, okay, cookies and candies every day for a week. Like, oh, great. Awesome. Should it be gummy candies, or should we just drink pop every day, all day long? And it's like, I will really go through that diet. And it's not I will really go through that diet. It's I've really been through those diets, dude. So I can tell you what they do, at least to me and my function with my brain, how it's looking at it, right? And to be honest, I think I adjust well to all of them. And even moving from the candy and cake diet back to like a healthy diet has caused problems. Like my stomach and my body was like, what the hell are you doing? We want cake and candy. We're used to this liquid sugar you're feeding us. And now you're feeding us plants and burgers and deers and cows and what the hell is this? I want sugar. Like my body literally went through some issues going from a crappy diet each time, but this was the crappiest of diets. I mean, if I wouldn't tell you to go on this diet, test it out yourself, because according to science, you're going to die from it, right? I mean, I've kind of been on the Powerade diet here for like a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making this stuff up. You need me to pull out some more empty bottles here? Like, I just threw like 4 away because I just cleaned out the car yesterday, so I only had 4 left from today. Here. Is this Powerade? Who knows? It's a little clear for Powerade. I wouldn't drink this if I were you, to be honest. But it says Powerade, right? So it's a Powerade bottle. So, you know, like, they're saying we're inventing the world around us, and I think they're largely right. I think they're, like, I don't know if they know fully what they're talking about. It's hard for me to get them to rat on themselves and explain things in depth. But when I poke and prod the people who seem to know things, at the same time, it's like I'm poking and prodding you, like, in ways that I don't think you, like, could understand sometimes. And unless you've been through this before a million times and, like, you're well rehearsed at not responding to the poking and prodding. But even the people who I feel understand a lot, the people teaching me, some of them act like they don't understand a lot. And that could be a fully act. I mean, they are the top actors in Hollywood and stuff like that, right? I'll take this off so you can have a square. I know whatever's up with the camera, it's not going to look like this cool, like, James Dean Revel I'm seeing in the picture right now. For some reason, the camera alters it to me being just like another schmuck. And, bro, this schmuck wants to light a cigarette right now. So the schmuck has at it. You know, me looking pretty. You know, one thing I learned recently is, like, hey, I got to get rid of that love for my little pretty boy status where I always look like a child, because I done fucking killed him off. And if every other male can get trapped by a woman, then I should be just fine losing pretty boy status and shit. And just, it might be hard to find a woman who wants to put up with the truth. I guess before, like, I could be truthful, and it was like forgiving of the truth because they accepted pretty boy status and shit and good sex, which none of them could handle in the end anyways, right? But still a useful tool for breaking into the doorway. Parables. But anyways, breaking into the doorway of the mind. That's what I was talking about, my friends, my younger audience, who are, I mean, I'm supposed to make these videos for children only, and I gotta mark them, and it's like, who the hell even watches their children, dude? I was a child on the internet. I was the worst person on the internet when I was a child. What the hell do we have a warning? We should have a warning for adults who go on the internet. Warning, there may be children on here who are here to piss you off and troll you and treat you like garbage. They don't know jack squat, but they're here and they're going to tell you everything they think they know. Now, that's a whole nother video, isn't it? Discussing that. I just came up with that. But how real is that, too? Like, we have all these warnings like, oh, no, don't let the children get it. It's like, don't let the adults interact with these children online, dude, because these children online are going to, oh, boy. It's like the troll army. They've literally called them the troll army in some instances. In the alt-right pre-rise to Trump, it was called the troll army. Like, you know, where that came from, the Daily Stormer and stuff. Like, they knew who that was. And I can assure you that was either a bunch of computer bots, that was a bunch of Israel bots, or that was a bunch of children. And me included. I don't think I'm an adult. I've never grown up. I think that's one of my greatest gifts, is I can't grow up. I just can't. I can't figure out how to fit in this world. I can't figure out how to do this stuff. like a child who's punched myself in the head too many times and had too many other people punch myself in the head and fallen off my bike on a frickin' bottom of a ravine and smacked my head into the edge of a cliff too many times. I don't have to make stuff up. Like, I can just recall moments and come up with some interesting stuff. I think that hurt my penis more than anything, though. Like, the bike fucking mashing up into as the bike hit the side of the cliff and my body hit the bike that was between me and the side of the cliff. I think my nuts took the largest impact from that. And time to get on, time to buy a bike and do it again. Do it again! Anyways, let's get back on topic here. I mean, it's all kind of on topic. Like, if I'm talking about the world around us, I'm talking about this stuff. But really haven't made a video much on this about how it seems we're inventing the world around us. And maybe we have help. I think we have helpers. These people I've been attacking for a while, they've actually helped me. Like my family didn't fucking help me, dude. These people helped me. I think they know that too. I think they know at the end of the day that that I'd rather turn on everyone else than turn on them. But I don't think they didn't trust me with such knowledge if they thought any otherwise. If they thought I was really some psycho killer and who was out to get them, I don't think they would have entrusted me with knowledge. But yeah. So, like, I see stuff, like, popping out of my head into this world. And I really didn't notice that when I was in, like, an established community. Because, for all I know, those were thoughts that were created in my head when I was, like, 1 to 8 years old. And I just stayed in the same area for 38 years. But as I left areas, I began to see things everywhere, all over the place. And I began to ask questions too. Like I asked to be shown what the world is and everything around us. I wanted to know those answers because I felt like I could solve the problems. You know, I could definitely attack this global warming. I mean, let's not get into that. I could attack the waste. You know, the excessive garbage we produce, the excessive production we produce. I can attack all that heavily with good tactics, and everything else I could probably attack with good tactics too. Like everything political. Like I didn't decide to get into this stuff because I didn't think I knew anything. I decided to get into this stuff because I thought I knew everything. I mean, really, until I started actually getting out of my house and getting involved in this stuff, I thought I knew it all. And then I'm like, wait a minute, like, there's something else going on in this world, isn't there? And there is. There's definitely something else going on in this world. And it's like, it's horrifying because God will choose you to be humbled. And, yeah. You start to see stuff. And you're like, wait a minute. You're like, oh, I need to stop the people causing these problems. And God's like, oh, yeah, you do, don't you? Let me show you who's causing these problems around you. It could be Satan or you. And then, yeah. So, I guess if you've never experienced it, you wouldn't understand it. But, I mean, nothing really unnerves me or bothers me. But, man, seeing some of this stuff has taken some time to adjust to around me. I guess no longer I can say nothing that unnerves me or bothers me. Because something did at one point. And I'm getting, like, used to it. But I'm still, like, unused to it because the answers aren't all there. Like when I'm asking to summon fire right here, like, okay, let's just burn down this tree here. And this tree doesn't burn down. Maybe it burns down tomorrow. And my bad, dudes. Some things take time, apparently. Some of the stuff that I see takes time. And some of it is like, just like instantly in my head. It's like popping out into the world around me. And I'm like, how does that happen? Like, that's what I want to know. People want to know, why Antifa's rioting. I went out there. They want to know why the alt-right's protesting. I went out there. They want to know why these wars are going on, and I'm about to go out there. You bet. I'm just crazy enough to go out there. I'll walk right into the middle of a place where people are firing guns and dropping bombs. At this point, like, why not? Like, my life needs to, like, expand and move further. And the stuff I've done most of my life, there's not much I can do to, like, make it more exciting rather than walk into the middle of a war zone and be on neither people's side. Walk right into the middle of two people trying to shoot each other and not be on either of their side. But I was already doing that, right? So it's not like much of a escalation to move on to people who have guns and have batons, have shields and armor, to walk in between people who have guns and nukes and missiles and do the same thing. Like, it is what it is, and I feel like I need to earn the position I'm after in this world, and that's important as well. As opposed to just, I've earned it by being forced to be educated, and I didn't get to play in all the reindeer games everyone else did when they was a kid. And then one day they was like, hey, Rudolph, come out here and play in this game with your nose so bright. And I'm like, dude, my nose ain't as bright as yours. And I think they're pretty much like, oh, look in the mirror again, dude. Like, your nose is just as bright as ours. And so anyway, see if you can understand this. I gotta speak in the parables, right? I mean, it's all coded, right? Everything in the world's quite coded. But if you start to, like, latch on to what's going on in the world, you can uncode some of it. And some of these things I've seen, it appears before my eyes. And there's no earthly explanation for that. No human, no science teacher can explain to me what has just happened that I've just seen. If I can catch it on camera and prove to people that, hey, this just happened. Because, I mean, when I think something and I press a button and, like, that comes before me, I can't prove to you I just thought that, right? So, but when I say something and stuff like that and it comes true, like, that's a different thing. Like, I've been talking about a lot of stuff for a while, and many things have come into place. Let's hope a lot of the other stuff doesn't come into place and it's just a fluke, right? Hopefully we can change that stuff before it comes into place. I mean, if not, it will be a fun time, I guess. I mean, what's the purpose here on Earth besides to have some fun? Some people think it's to, like, sit around and work like 8 hours a day and then go home and sleep until it's time to work again. And I can't mentally understand that type of stuff. Like, and I'm not very good at it either. I've done it before. In some places, I guess I am good at it and stuff, but I'm not very good at sticking with it. Like, even places where I felt like I was good at it, they'd be like, why are you always on cigarette break? And it's like, because I was already done with all my work, dude. Like, they're like, go help someone else. It's like, well, why aren't they helping themselves? Like, how come I don't get a break? And how come I have to do everyone's work and I'm getting payment for me only? And it was like 15, 16 when I had to start asking questions like that. But I've seen a lot of stuff happen, man. and and I should sound crazy, right? Like, oh, especially that I went into it. Like, I mean, I have kind of, but there's a difference between like actually seeing stuff and making it up. And I don't try to make stuff up. I try to. I talk about a lot of stuff I don't understand, and I talk about it from any angle I can. And so that means most of it might not at all be relevant or exist, but I'm trying, right? I'm trying. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. And a lot of the stuff I've seen, man. The only thing that makes me think this isn't like my world and I've invented the entire thing is when I like go into that, there's often like someone who like will do a little punishment or like reminder, like, hey, you're not completely in control here. So I don't like to make that claim that I'm like everything and completely in control, but at the same time, it's hard for me not to make that complaint that that claim, because a lot of the stuff, and I don't even want to talk about most of it, and some of it, like, really until I find the answers, like, I shouldn't talk about it to protect other people, because for all I know, people could be, things in the world could be like trying to be beneficial to me, and I'm not seeing it right yet. But are we inventing the world around us? I started getting introduced to that like at the beginning of 2020, oddly. And in so many ways, I was taking courses, right? Like, I took a course at like Shaw Academy, and then I was like, oh, this is a waste of time. I already know everything they're teaching me. And then, like a year or two later, I got sucked back into a whole bunch more courses, and basically, I was being taught by people who are like, really high in this world. Like I mean, probably really high, right? I don't think you can get much higher than me, but go right at it. Go ahead and attempt it, dude. Freaking, but like professional football stars. That was one of my favorite courses I took from like a professional football athlete who was like teaching about time management and life and stuff like that. That was probably my second course I really paid attention to after a Kabbalah course. And or I think maybe I took that first, and then during that I signed on to the Kabbalah course. But people like that I assume could teach me something, like how he got somewhere and how he manages his money and stuff like that. And that wasn't really what that was about even. That was just about like, reorganizing, restructuring your life. Like, it really had nothing to do with any of the things you would think to go and ask like some professional, like how did they get to where they were and stuff like that. He didn't talk about, oh, I was in the gym every 12 hours a day every day. Like, that wasn't the conversation really at all. It ended up being pretty much some more of the Kabbalah course stuff, like you are inventing the stuff around you, and you've got to change your mind to fit what you want to be and who you are and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things I think I learned is to be who you are, to be who you think you are, and not where you're at and what you really, what your negative self-depreciating self thinks you are. Like what you want to be and what you think you are, that is what you are. What you think you are and where you are, that combats and prevents you from moving up that ladder to be what you think you are. That's your enemy. That's like your enemy. That's not you. That's the person in the way of you becoming who you are, who you think you are, who you want to be, who you think you want to be. That I think erase most of what I just said. Who you think you want to be, that is who you should be. And you have to move at that, right? You have to move forward with that. I spent a lot of time being someone I wasn't because I didn't feel that I was worthy of being the person I felt I was. And that's wasted a lot of time in my life. I mean, maybe things would be in a worse situation. Maybe I wouldn't have to go on this learning path. Kabbalah taught me that too as well. Like if you're not who you think you are, that's because you're blocking yourself from being who you want to be and everything, right? And I mean, those words are kind of confusing because who you think you are, you think you're like nothing and you can't do anything, and that's not the truth. It's like who you think you should be, who you think you want to be. Like that person is you genuinely. Not everyone else wants to go outside wearing like the black, red, and gray and white camo mask with the Punisher shirt and the shiny red pants and the snakeskin high heel boots or the black satin black velvet suits and stuff like that. Like that is who I am. That is not like that's not an illusion. Like people ask sometimes with this coat I wear over here, like, is that a costume? It's like, no, dude, that is entirely me. But years ago, I would have looked at that like it was a costume. But it's like, no, I'm the one who wanted to wear that. Like stuff like that was made for people like me. I just felt I hadn't achieved a level yet needed to become that person. But all that stuff ties into seeing this world around you and inventing the world around you. Even if you don't think you can invent it with your mind, even if you've never seen the world appear out of your mind, you are what you do, what you say, how you dress, how you act. And if you feel you're not good enough to be what you want to be, then that's where you're going to stay. You're going to stay in that level of, you're literally going to be a person who feels you're not good enough. That's where you're going to be. You're not going to be where someone else is or where you think you are. You're going to be in this level where you are just not worthy. And it's weird how this stuff can affect the world around you. It's not just like a mindset. Well, at the same time, if I'm seeing a lot of stuff reflect back at me, how come I never seen other people reflect back at me my feelings of worthlessness? Like, I never seen that. I always kind of like, oh, that'd be interesting to like meet a female who like didn't like this world as much as I do. Like, I could probably get along with that person. Maybe I did, but maybe they hated the world more than me. Maybe that's why a lot of them didn't have any enjoyment or excitement or understand affection and desire, lust and love very much. Maybe they understood hating themselves more than I do, or hating this world more than I do, or they simply understood it on different terms than I do. But I've seen a lot of stuff appear before me, and it's really crazy, like to think that and say it and all that stuff. But it's happened so many times at this point. It's just like, who cares? Like, people probably, if people knew who I was like from day one, they would have thought I was crazy from day one anyway. So who cares what people think, right? And I've had to hide in the shadows most of my life because you couldn't talk about the stuff that we did as kids and stuff. Couldn't talk about it. No one would believe it. Like, no one else is doing it. Like, why would you believe someone who said that stuff? Except for I was in a position where I would believe whatever you say, because it's like whatever you say didn't have anything on what me and the crew I was hanging out with was doing, bro. Like, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. Like, some people I know might have been involved in that normal gangbanging stuff back in the 90s y'all heard about, where you just gangbang people. And it's like, to me, we were kind of like a stage above that type of stuff. Like, we wasn't on a level where we were just like killing people senselessly, and we were evolved past that. We were just destroying everything. I was destroying everything senselessly. But yeah, you never see any TV shows about any of that stuff we used to do. So I guess there's never really too many people who are like far beyond me. I guess there's people talking about like aliens species in this world and stuff like this, and I was like, you guys are crazy. And I guess those are the people at this point who I will look back at as like they're above me. Were they controlled that position or not, I can't say, but they were definitely, like, many of these people are definitely being honest. The truther community, the new age community, many of them are being honest on many levels. Whether they're following people who aren't being 100% honest or not, I think there's a lot of truth in a lot of this stuff going on here. And I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to like be this happy-go-lucky person 24/7 and stuff. I don't have enough MDMA ecstasy to do that. And whatever it is, my brain's fucked. Whatever it is, I find it hard to find happiness and stuff. And you know what? Like, I shouldn't even say that, because when I talk to other people, like they'll be like, oh, I felt that way my whole life. Like, I'm so used to it now, I'm not even trying to kill myself anymore. It's just like an everyday thing. It's like, oh, that's why you sat around and watched TV your whole life and never did anything, because you're just like waiting to die. And they're like, yeah, you figured it out, moron. And I'm like, oh shit, I thought I was the smart one. Fucking. But I mean, at the same time, it's hard to fight that. If we're inventing this world around us, it's hard to fight that if we feel worthless. If we feel like we're ran down, we have some children. We got to spend 8 hours a day raising the children, 8 hours a day working to care for the children. Man, bro, this world is different than that, though. The problem doesn't come from these burdens. The problem comes from seeing these things as burdens and playing along with the role that these things are a burden. If you have a child, I've seen one of you, David, in specific. I didn't say that out loud, did I? Like, you might have a family at this point, and you might be a little worried about the community you're living in and the situation you're living in, where the money's going to come from. And like, well, for now, the government will take care of you. Gotta let that ego go. Yeah. I feel like a bitch when I pull out the EBT card. I don't want no one to see that. For like 6 years, I'd hide that when I pull that out. Like, I don't want no one to see this. But in all honesty, you know, you work for that. That's your money. Your family work for that. Your parents work for that. Your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. They all work for that to support you. Anyone who looks at you in shame or talks like you should feel shameful about that, it's probably you. But I mean, in all honesty, like, no one else has any right to judge. My family built a system that supports me and stuff, and they built it for good reason. They built it to support someone like me, to raise and build someone like me, right? We live in a deeply socialist society. It's, oh man. Anyone arguing against socialism right now is arguing on the wrong path, because you're arguing against socialism, not against the fact that we've already implemented it. But good, a little off topic. Take advantage of the world around you. You know, I like I like this quote from a Dave Mustaine song, Megadeth song. It says, "Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country," right? Except for he's meaning the opposite. He's saying, "Don't ask what your country can do for you. You know, don't ask what you can do for your country. Ask what your country can do for you." And this place is all set up like this. Like the important thing, though.